Good evening, Gills fans. Welcome back to Gills in the Blood TV. It's Thursday, which means two things this week. Blackpool revisited, and then looking ahead to Saturday's massive home fixture as we welcome Doncaster Rovers to the Priestfield. But we'll get onto that in a little bit. First though, let's take a look back at Tuesday's dramatic last gasp win at Bloomfield Road. We finally won an away game. It seems like it's been forever since we did. Back end of October, I think, when we won at Accrington. Drawn a lot of games since then, haven't lost many all season. So really impressive last half an hour after probably being massively second best for the first hour or so of the game, and probably slightly fortunate to only be one down at the break, looking at the chance that Gary Medine missed when the ball just sort of hit him on the shin and bounced up to Jack Bonham when he had the whole goal to aim at. And that was shortly after Armand Nondouille, I think I've got that right, had put the Tangerines in front after 6 minutes, driving run from their left, cut inside Tom O'Connor and Barry Fuller, who neither really made a proper challenge, and he arrowed a shot across Jack Bonham into the far corner. Thought it was soft from our point of view, and I thought first half we weren't at it. We were second best to everything. We looked a yard off the pace. I know we had people missing. I tweeted at the time, or sent to Stocky because we was watching it on iFollow together, and said that I felt sorry for Tom O'Connor and Ben Pringle because they were getting overrun. Thought we was playing a 4-4-2. Jordan Roberts and Jordan Graham as the wide players, with Brandon Hanlon partnering Big John Akinde up front, but we just never really managed to put anything together of much substance. And it took a change at the break. Jordan Graham, who I thought had a pretty poor night in all honesty, was replaced by Stuart O'Keefe, back from injury, and I thought he did a great job in giving us more control in the middle of the park, helped Tom O'Connor in breaking up play and getting us back on the front foot. And yeah, real resilience, real togetherness in the performance. And we know we weren't at our best for large spells of the game, and maybe could have gone 2 or 3 behind, but we stuck at it. We kept ourselves in the match, which is a hallmark of this side now. We've done it plenty of times this season, and yeah, really pleasing to see a couple of players score. Obviously, well, all the players, in fairness. John Akinde opened his account for the club with a smart finish, left-footed, sort of through the keeper, after a brilliant through ball from Jordan Roberts, who again, I thought, like his namesake Jordan Graham, didn't have a great night on the whole, but showed enough quality to swivel and play the ball in for Big John, and he got himself away from the centre-backs and managed to tuck it away, which was brilliant. Regan Charles Cook, 2 or 3 minutes later, just been introduced, hasn't had a lot of time on the pitch. Brilliant first touch on his chest, swivels in one movement and volleys it into the bottom corner without the ball hitting the floor. Reminded me, technique-wise, of the Steven Bergwijn goal for Tottenham against Man City a couple of weeks ago from the Premier League, and everyone was raving about that. So huge credit to Regan Charles Cook, made an immediate impact and was probably one of our best players. I know I spoke to Chris Willis on Twitter on Wednesday, and he said that Regan Charles Cook was man of the match for him because he come on and he swung the whole game in our favour. And then the last goal is a player that I really like, I really rate. I want us to persist with him. I want him to get a new contract in the summer. I know he probably doesn't score as many as we wish, but it was brilliant to see Brandon Hanlon leap at the far post in the 95th minute after we'd been pegged back in the 91st or 92nd minute and looked like we was going to draw another away game, and headed in Tommy O'Connor's brilliant corner. Absolute bedlam in the away end. Don't watch the Soccer AM video, which is trying to stitch us up, it looks like, trying to stay relevant. 125 Gills fans in that stand went absolutely mental. And it was just reward and fair play to them. Tuesday night, howling winds, freezing temperatures, blowing a gale, raining, 600-mile round trip, getting at home at 4 AM in the morning. Fair play to every single one of you, and it was brilliant to see you all rewarded with 3 points. And there's always something pretty special about a last-minute goal, isn't there, whether that's home or away. And I tweeted this morning, I said, just how big is that away win against Blackpool now, with 7 away fixtures remaining? Obviously, in the sense that it won us 3 points as an isolated game, it's massive in that sense. But in terms of convincing ourselves now that we can win away games rather than just not get beat, how big a thing will that be for us as we move through the remaining fixtures of this 2019-2020 campaign? It got us within 7 points of the playoffs, I think, because of Coventry's late goal at home to Pompey, which meant we gained a point on the top 6, which is another bonus. So all in all, a really good night, a really decent result, despite not being at our best, but that's the sign of a good side, I think. And yeah, all 3 goals came with added bonuses. Like I say, first for the club, an excellent volley from Regan Charles-Cook, who I think deserves more minutes, but can't get in the side because others are playing well. And Brandon Hanlon, now joint top scorer in all competitions, with the now departed Alex Jakubiak. So really pleasing. I'm not sure I agreed with Steve Evans' comments in his after-match interview, and said that it would have been a travesty if we'd not won the game and it had stayed at 2-2. I thought Blackpool were pretty worthy of their lead at the break and maybe could have extended it. So I said I thought a draw was the fairest result, and I think Stocky agreed with me when, after we calmed down, I think I ended up halfway up his staircase after Brandon Hanlon's header had gone in and he was going mad. I think he woke Boz up. Boz was sleeping, getting ready for a night shift, so I'm sorry, Boz. But it's a last-minute winner, so it's not our fault. But yeah, so going back to the Brandon Hanlon thing, in the match report, Luke Cordell says, nobody deserved the winner more than Brandon Hanlon. The young striker worked so hard, he created so many chances, but doesn't always finish them off. However, he came good when it mattered at Blackpool to bag the Gills a priceless 3 points. Yeah, sums him up to a T. Works his nuts off every week, gets himself into good positions, uses the ball well when he's in possession. Of course, there's things that can be improved upon, but he's 22 years old. He's been in Football League for 18 months playing regular football. So contract up in the summer. If it was up to me, I'd give him a new 2-year deal straight away. I'm sure others will have different opinions on him, and that's absolutely fine. But yeah, I think if we did let him go, I think we'd be a bit hasty and could have let a good one go, and that might come back to bite us a bit later on. But yeah, final paragraph from Luke's match report as well, Luke Cordell. It's a hard life being a football fan, but these are the games that make it all worthwhile, and they really, really do. It's what we all live for as football fans, and fair play to these people that can go up and down the country every Saturday, every Tuesday and follow the Gills. I'd love to do it, but work commitments and family commitments mean that I can't. I get to as many as I can. I do every home game, try and pick and choose me away fixtures, but for every one of them 125 that were in Bloomfield Road on Tuesday, lovely stuff. Yeah, so yeah, I think obviously just be careful. Steve Evans was on the warpath and threatened to kiss everyone, so run for your lives, Gills fans. But yeah, really pleasing, I think, and Steve Evans alluded to him as the Chuckle Brothers after the game in a cryptic interview that was put up by the Gills social media team on Twitter, and they are best mates, Regan Charles-Cook and Brandon Hanlon. And when they first arrived beginning of last season, some of our good play was due to both of them playing in tandem. They know each other's runs, they know each other where they're going to be, and it'd be great if Regan Charles-Cook can have an impact between now and the end of the season, because I think there's a good young player in there like Brandon as well, and he's just had to bide his time a little bit more, and let's hope that he gets more minutes, and if he does, he has a positive impact on the side. And Steve Evans, talking about the playoffs and the whole, says on the back page of Thursday's Medway Messenger, the headline is "Bring It On," and an excellent picture of a roaring Brandon Hanlon running off to celebrate. Evans, whose side are now 12 unbeaten in League One, said, "What you can't do, and I've said it to the boys, you can't get to May and watch the playoffs and say what if and say what are we better than them. It don't count. We need to average 2 points per game from here on in, and in our last 2 we've got 4 points, so we're bang on track." He then goes on to say Saturday is really big because us and Doncaster are in a similar position. We both can strike or we both can slip away. And then talking about the squad in more detail, I would rather have 15 to 18 quality players with 20 than have 24 with 10 of them who shouldn't be in a club at League One level. We are trying to do it against the grain, but we've been brilliantly supported in the transfer window. I've mentioned here on a couple of videos since the transfer window slammed shut that I think we need a couple of more numbers in. Steve Evans has again alluded to the fact that he's talking to a couple of free agents, but I can totally see what he's saying. And I've said numerous times that the 18 players that we have got fit and available are very, very good footballers at this level. So it's just a case of managing it. Ollie Lee missed out with illness during the week. Stuart O'Keefe only made the bench again. Alfie Jones, according to Steve Evans, wanted to travel, but we had to tell him no. And he should be fit for Saturday, which is great news because he's been a big part of what we've done and our success, relatively speaking, this season. But yeah, all in all, a mad game. Maybe we didn't really deserve to win it, but I think we've probably earned a bit of luck in all the games that we've bossed and not managed to get over the line and win 3 points. And talking of 3 points, there's another of them up for grabs in ME7 this coming Saturday when this lot head to the Priestfield. Darren Moore's Doncaster will be in town this Saturday, hurricanes and storms permitting. Is it Storm Dennis that's due to hit Medway on Saturday? So bring your waterproofs. Don't wear a hat, I'd imagine, Gills fans, because you'll probably end up losing it. But yeah, going to have a look ahead to that game. And we've also got the thoughts of James from the Gills Fancast. He's going to do a little bit for us, give us his thoughts on the game coming up, and also playoff chances, I believe. So looking forward to hearing that. But in terms of form, as I always have a look at, last 6 for us, drawn, 1, drawn, 1. So just starting to turn them draws into wins again, which is a positive sign when we need to be picking up points. 10 points from the last 18 available. Doncaster have 11 from 18. They've won 3, drawn 2 and lost 1 of their last half a dozen. In terms of home and away, we're pretty much immaculate at the Priestfield. 4 wins and 2 draws in the last 6 on our own patch, which is 14 points from 18 available, which is really, really good. If we can maintain that level for the rest of the season, then we could be in the mix. Donny on the road of 3 wins, 2 losses and a draw, so they've taken 10 from 18 away from the keep moat. Is the keep moat. So yeah, points to 2 sides that are in decent form, both just outside the playoff zone at the moment. I think they're 8th, we're 11th. And I think if we win, we can get within a point or 2 of Doncaster Rovers. So that's an incentive in itself. Another carrot dangling in front of us. Like I've said, it's 2 good sides. They're an attractive side. They like to play the right way. I think Darren Moore likes his players to get the ball down, and they've got some good technicians in that side. Likes of James Coppinger, the evergreen James Coppinger. Really experienced, technically superb. 39 years old, still going strong. Ben Sheaf and Ben Whiteman in the middle of the park, both again technically very, very good. Keep the ball well, pass the ball well. Got Alex Baptiste, they got in start of the season, who plays centre half now. I think he used to be a midfielder by trade, but bags of experience and leadership qualities. But Kieran Sadler, I think, is their top scorer, has got 11 in 36 in all competitions this season. Yeah, I think he sort of pushed into that role at the start of the season because John Marquis left just before the transfer window shut, and he scored against us in the opening day draw, if you remember, a smart finish. And I'm not sure he's playing centre forward anymore, but 11 in 36 from effectively midfield is a decent return. So he'll be one to keep an eye on. And I think in the transfer window, 2 names that they added were Devontae Cole, who's played at this level before, was in Scotland more recently, and Fajiri Okenabiri is another one. Devontae Cole goalless so far in 5 appearances, but Okenabiri's got 2 in 4, and I think 3 of them have come from the bench, so he's hit the ground running. So I'd imagine he'd be in contention to start the game, and will be one that we need to keep an eye on. Had a really good season last time around at Shrewsbury and persuaded Doncaster to part with, I think, around 75,000 for his services. So they've got good players. But right, I'm going to leave you with James now before I come back and do the team news and my score prediction. So I will let you have a listen to his dulcet tones.
Yeah, after such a breathtaking, thrilling victory on Tuesday night against Blackpool, where it looked like the playoff charge was over, and in a space of 30 seconds, it was back on. But of course, we go into Saturday against Doncaster full of confidence. Full of real confidence, certainly from Tuesday night. It was good to see Brandon get onto the score sheet after people criticising him, including myself, that I feel that he should score more goals than he does, but he popped up with a big moment. Really good to see Regan as well get a goal. That was really good for his confidence. Obviously, not playing as much as he would like to so far, but Saturday is huge. It's massive. These next 2 games really against Doncaster and Southend are absolutely vital in us, putting this promotion charge in full flow towards the end of the season. Doncaster come obviously full of confidence, but look, we haven't lost since November, and we blew these away in the FA Cup tie just before Christmas. Of course, beating them 3-0. There's no reason why this Gillingham side, certainly with the addition of Jordan Graham, Ben Pringle playing his best football in the Gill shirt at the moment, Stuart O'Keefe instrumental to this side, John Akindi now off the mark. There's absolutely no reason why we can't get a result on Saturday and Tuesday at Southend. Look, they are in a bit of a state down there, aren't they? And so, really, I think there is absolutely no reason why we shouldn't be picking 6 points out of a possible 6 out of the next 2 games. I think personally we're gonna just miss out. I think we're too far adrift. But if we can win the next 2 games, it puts pressure on that top 6. I think we can win the next 2 games. I'm going for a 2-1 win on Saturday and a 3-1 win on Tuesday night. But yeah, let's hope we can take massive points out in the next 2 games and put this promotion charge well on its way going into the latter parts of the season.
Cheers for that, mate. Always enjoy listening to the podcast when it gets released. So, Gills fans, if you're not subscribed, go and find the Gills Fancast on Apple, iTunes, etc. And then you're the first to know every time that one of their podcasts comes out. James does a great job with Reece and also Owen on getting that out on about a fortnightly basis on average, I think it is. And it's a really good listen. Certainly makes the drive to and from work a lot more bearable when the traffic's bad. But yeah, back to Saturday in terms of team news for us. Obviously, no Mark Byrne. I say that every week. That's the same now for the end of the season. But I did notice Steve Evans alluded to in his press conference today that he is ahead of schedule, Burner, but we won't see him before the end of the season. But it'd be great if we can get him ready for pre-season and he comes back fitter and stronger for 2020-21. But everyone else, it seems, should be available. Matty Willock started on the bench purely due to fatigue and cramp and that type of thing after getting 65 minutes at the weekend. That's his longest stint in a Gill shirt since arriving in the summers. So you can imagine from that the type of injury problems that he's had to put up with. Alfie Jones, like Steve Evans has mentioned, should be fit for Saturday. Stuart O'Keefe, I imagine, comes back into contention to start, having come off the bench in Tuesday night's win at Blackpool. Regan Charles Cook, as he played himself into contention. Ollie Lee, back from illness, should be available. But Regan has obviously given Evans and Paul Rayner food for thought, which is all you can ask for when you haven't got the biggest squad. If you've got everyone that's chomping at the bit, so to speak, and wants to get involved and wants to have a positive impact on the side, then it can be no bad thing. So team news was a bit tricky for me this week in terms of picking a side. I'm going to stick with the same back 5 because it's been really successful. That's Jack Bonham, Barry Fuller, Max Amar, Jack Tucker and Connor Ogilvie. I think Tom O'Connor doesn't deserve to lose his place at the base of the diamond, so I'd keep him there for now. I would bring Stuart O'Keefe in for Jordan Graham on the right-hand side of the diamond. I think we persist with Ben Pringle from the left. And the other change I'd make was, despite him setting up the first goal, I'd take Jordan Roberts out this week. I'd play Regan Charles Cook in the 10, and I'd keep John Akinde up front, and I'd play him alongside Brandon Hanlon, another player who's going to be full of confidence after that late winner during the week. My bench, therefore, would be the 7 that are left, which is Joe Walsh, Alfie Jones, Matty Willock, Ollie Lee, Jordan Graham, Jordan Roberts, and Mika Mandron. Good options there, aren't they? Like I say, it's not the biggest squad, not by a long way, but it is full of quality and full of options, and really looking forward to Saturday's game. I think it's a good test. We beat a Blackpool side that had won at the weekend, but they'd only beaten Southend, and prior to that they'd been pretty awful for a long time. So take that with a pinch of salt, but not taking anything away from us to show that type of application and desire with 20 minutes to go to get back in the game and ultimately go on and win it. But this would be a different test altogether. Rovers are a good side with better players and are in better form. But 1-1 draw up there in the first game of the season was a decent point. I think Alex Jakubiak scored that day. We saw him off pretty comfortably in the second round of the FA Cup in December by 3-0. Started absolutely brilliantly that day and were 2-0 up inside quarter of an hour. So yeah, should make for a good game. I'm going to look, I'm going to say I think it'll be a tight game. I think we'll win it by the odd goal. So I'm going to go for a final score prediction of Gillingham 2, Doncaster Rovers 1. John Akinde and Brandon Hanlon hopefully will score our goals. And then if results go our way, we could be anything around half a dozen or less points from that top 6. Right, that is enough from me this evening. You've heard the thoughts from myself and also James from the Gills Fancast. Myself and Boz will be at the ground Saturday for Match Day Live. No Stocky this week, unfortunately. So come and say hello. Come and get involved if you wish. We're always stood at the front of the Rainer Men before the game, watching the warm-up, etc. You know where we are on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram and on YouTube. Enjoy your Thursday evening. Enjoy your Friday evening. It is Valentine's, so you might have to take the wife out. But obviously Saturday we get back to our main love, and that is Gillingham Football Club. And until next time, up the Gills.